be careful. Examples of biometrics, again, a fingerprint scanner. ISACA likes the fingerprint scanner because it says users are not opposed to it. And therefore, since the users accept it more, it's going to be more practical and useful. That's their subjective opinion. And on exam day, you roll with it. Auditing biometrics, the first stage to review is how you gathered the biometric information to begin with. If you did a poor job of that, then clearly your biometric access system is already faulty. And then the use of residual biometric information to gain unauthorized access is known as a biometric replay attack. I guess that would be kind of like when I'm watching Mission Impossible and they lift a fingerprint with a piece of tape and use that to get into the door. I don't know. The replay attack, that's what they call it. So other physical access devices, again, we can have memory cards, smart cards. We know that we should never, ever let anonymous visitors, or rather visitors at all, go through our facility unescorted. That's the idea there. Media disposal. If you have sensitive information on media that you get rid of, you better make sure you sanitize it well before it goes. And the best way to sanitize magnetic media, at least, is degaussing. And that is basically demagnetizing that media. Hardware disposal, making sure that your storage media is sanitized, just like I said, degaussing, demagnetizing. I already talked about that. So we're doing pretty good. We now have, doing well, actually, not good. I teach my daughter this. It is now 3:38. We have a few minutes left. We'll do some practice questions, just a couple, and then I'm going to give you some parting comments on best practices and tip before you leave. So hopefully, yeah, I still have some folks. Still with 18. Wednesday, just like I said, they consider this sticky. Good retention. So upon detection of a significant security breach, the information security manager should first notify whom and explain the incident along with any corrective action taken. The data owners who may be impacted by the breach, all data owners, the board of directors, or the chief operations officer. What do you think? All right, we have almost half the folks have put in an answer. And basically it looked like a toss-up between your data owners who may be impacted by the breach and the chief operations officer. First off, for the folks that answered chief operations officer, I kind of know where you're going and I respect that. You were thinking, hey, senior management, they're always the people. Well, yes, because that's typically who we consider, again, having data ownership, having risk ownership. But when they most specifically say the data owners who may be impacted by the breach, that is the best answer. And so 62.5% of the people went that way. Good job there. During the review of a biometrics system operation, the IS auditor should first review the stage of, do you remember this? It was just recently. We talked about this. Is it registration? Is it authentication? Is it validation? Is it enrollment? Which one is it? Okay, we have about 40% of the folks have answered. Give you another couple seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, last chance, 1. I'm surprised at this. Yeah, it turns out that, again, this was just a couple of slides back. ISACA feels that when we review a biometric systems operation, we first review the stage of enrollment. Again, how we got the physical information to begin with. I said before, if you did a poor job at that, the rest of your biometric access system is kind of compromised already. So what provides the framework for designing and developing logical access controls? An information system security policy, an organizational security policy, COBIT or COSO. What do you think? All right, this is our last question, so give me your best effort. Let's see what we have. Need a couple more answers, and we'll go ahead and move forward, and we'll go ahead and go through our summary and close out the day. You've made it. All right. Wow, it's kind of all over the board here. First off, how much did we talk about COBIT? We didn't. If it was on the exam, I'd have talked about it. That's out. How much should we talk about COSO? No, didn't. If it was on the exam, be careful about using logic to get yourself through this test. Logic isn't always your friend in this exam. That leaves us back with an information systems security policy or an organizational security policy. Now, first off, I will tell you, when I look at questions like this and I see two similar answers, oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes, it's one of those two, because they're figuring that I'm smart enough to know that it was something like that. I just can't remember which one it was. And so really it comes down to, I'm preferring now, if I had to guess, I would be looking at A or B. And I'd say, well, let's take a look at A and B. They're very similar. And how is the difference between them relevant to the question itself, RTFQ, right? When I look at this, what provides the framework for designing and developing logical access controls? They didn't say security in general. They really talked about something very specific to typically information access, because we talk about logical access being technical access, logical access controls. So while it could be, and also in terms of, it could be an organizational security policy. Remember, organizational security could cover all kinds of different security besides logical access controls with IT. So out of the two, I would actually be leaning more towards information system security policy for this exam, knowing ISACA and what this exam is about. Don't forget about why you're here and what the exam is called. Certified Information Systems Auditor. The correct answer, according to ISACA, is the first offering there, an information system security policy. So I was just trying to give you some of the logic that I would use if I had to guess why I would guess that way. So let's go ahead and cover some final parting thoughts, course conclusion, and then I'll let you go. So just hang in with me for another couple minutes because we've got good stuff to share. First off, remember when it comes to taking the exam, your last week shouldn't be preparation. There shouldn't be any new preparation in your last week. It should be review. Practice exams, practice exams, practice exams. Here's the problem. Practice questions by the pound doesn't help you, meaning I did 2,000 practice questions and he only or she only did 1,000, so I must be twice so good. No, not if you had crappy practice questions that didn't go to this test. For example, the practice questions I create for CISSP are very different from this one, even though they both cover a lot of security topics. Again, what's right on ISC Square's exam is not right necessarily on ISACA's exam. So be careful. I will say that the practice questions that we have, of course, I like to think are pretty accurate. If you have to go elsewhere, the only ones that I could actually put my name on to say, I think they're pretty good. I can't think of a single other third-party source that I would endorse. However, ISACA's own online practice questions, the kind that you get with subscription access, not the stuff they ship to you in the manuals, but the kind in subscription access, which by the way is spendy. But nonetheless, that's probably the closest that I could possibly guide you towards in terms of additional practice questions beyond what I've created. Again, you've got access to 200 of what I've created